Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I don't have anything clever here to say because this is a new beginning to an old episode. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. I'm working on my Julia Roberts do right now.
It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. We are re-releasing one of our episodes from, I think, like 2 years, almost 3 years ago, what? I think. It's the Pelican Brief. Our friend Adam Riske from F This Movie came on by, and we dorked out about the Pelican Brief that stars Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington. We had such a good time, as always, when Adam is on the show. And happy birthday to Adam, because It is also his birthday week. So do we need to say anything else about the Pelican Brief, or should we just kick it on over to it?
Let's just kick on over to it. We will play the trailer, and then we will get right into this episode. Everybody have a great 3-day weekend.
Yes.
Sonia is in San Diego listening to Lizzo at the Lizzo concert.
I'm on my way, Lizzo. It's about damn time.
From the best-selling thriller by John Grisham, author of The Firm and The Client. From Alan J. Pakula, director of All the President's Men and Presumed Innocent. Julia Roberts, Denzel Washington. The Supreme Court of the United States, our ultimate symbol of law and order. But in a single night, 2 of its justices will be brutally assassinated. 1,000 miles away in New Orleans, a lone law student has pieced together who did the killings and why, and created a document that has become known in the corridors of power as the Pelican Brief. Now, she has become a target, and the only person she can trust is an investigative journalist.
Everyone I've told about the brief is dead.
If this thing reaches as deep and goes as high as we think it does, these men will do anything not to be exposed.
Julia Roberts, Denzel Washington, the Pelican Brief.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, friend.
Hello, my friend.
There's more. Joining us is our podcasting brother from another mother, Adam Riske from F This Movie. Hello, other friend.
Hi, other friend.
Thanks for coming on to talk about 1993's The Pelican Brief with us.
Oh, thank you for forcing me to finally see this after 27 years.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy I knocked it off the list, because this was a movie where for years, it was always like this or that choice. I'm like, I could watch this or I could watch that. And then I would always choose the other movie and not the Pelican Brief.
I would love to know what you chose over the Pelican Brief.
Oh, I'm sure it was like Mr. Boogity and like things that are not really all that impressive.
It was
Dr. Giggles.
The dentist, the dentist, things like that.
Like some real deep cut Denzel Washington's like Virtuosity. I'm like, yeah, I'll go there.
I haven't seen Virtuosity since the theater either. Am I fine? Am I fine? Do I need to see it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I rewatched that like in June. I had like a VR night where I watched Lawnmower Man 2, Johnny Mnemonic, and Virtuosity.
Oh, my gosh.
It was a great night, but Virtuosity is embarrassingly bad. And I read a IMDb trivia about it that kind of made me like the movie a little bit more. Apparently... Denzel Washington only did the movie because his son really wanted him to do it. And now his son is Joel David Washington.
Is he the one that's living with his parents during the pandemic?
Yeah, who's like from Black Klansman and Tenet and stuff.
Yeah.
I just imagine him like coming down the stairs and they're like, "What's wrong, Joel David?" And he's like, "Tenet's not doing well." And they're like, "Come here. Watch TV with us."
They should set up cameras in that home. I would watch it.
Yeah, I would
absolutely. The Kardashians are going to be gone. This would be much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the Pelican Brief, which is based on the book by John Grisham, and it's it's adapted for the screen and directed by Alan J. Pakula. I got it. I looked it up, Margot. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Anyone who listens to the show knows I mispronounce everyone's names, and I'm trying really hard to be better, so I looked it up. Once I got the guy from Ren and Stimpy down, I think I can handle anything now. So there you go, Alan J. Pakula, and it stars Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington, and then everyone, Sam Shepard, John Hurd, Tommy Goldwyn, William Atherton. Sorry, see, I didn't look this one up. Atherton. Yeah,
Yep.
Old Dickless over here. The guy from Ghostbusters. That's what he is to me. Pecker. Mm-hmm. Robert Culp. Walter Peck. That's right. Stanley Tucci. Cynthia Nixon. John Lithgow. There's all these people. Like every little part is someone you'll recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Shepard, yeah. It's like a whole slew of white guys
that
have been in a bunch of other thrillers at the time.
Exactly.
But early Tooch.
An early Tooch. Yeah. Is that a thing people say, Margot? Early Tooch?
That's what I'm saying.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like a murderer's row of ARP.
They all just sit around and talk about their latest magazine from AARP.
It's like a double issue, and they're like the men of the brief.
I would get that. I would take it to conventions and get it signed.
Yeah.
Oh, who wouldn't? Yeah.
I know.
Do they have Pelican Brief conventions?
People love this movie, you guys. That's what I was shocked to find out. I mean, over the years, I haven't seen this movie since it was in the movie theater.
Same.
But I remember over the years, there are people who super love this movie. So I bet you there's a convention. I bet it's in New Orleans. And I bet there's like plushies dressed like pelicans. Like I think there's a whole thing.
I like where you're
and
going.
Like half the room is Pelican Brief and half the convention center is Candyman. Or Candyman 2. Candyman 1 was in Chicago. Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, was in New Orleans. Man, I screwed up that joke. Sorry.
All right, let's start over. We should mention that this movie centers around the murder of 2 Supreme Court justices. That's what gets the ball rolling. Obviously, we picked this movie before recent events, but it's not even remotely tied to any reality, so I think we're fine.
One of the things I like about this choice we have is that 1993, it's before cell phones and it's before the internet. Mm-hmm. So there's just nothing modern about it. So it is just like a whole other time and space.
Yes. I love that in the movie, obstruction of justice is a big deal.
Yeah, it's adorable.
I'm like, that's so cute. That was enough to like make people like afraid. Well, I don't want to get charged with obstruction of justice. That's sweet. How cute.
It's very quaint.
It's so quaint. The movie opens with, it happens a few times actually. They show these like random protests going on. And I'm like, what are they protesting? Because it seems to be everything. It's like guns.
Like nowadays.
Yeah, it's like, so it's like a huge protest, but all the signs are like guns, abortion. I think I saw a Confederate flag sign in one of them. I'm like, I don't even know what they're protesting, but they're there protesting everything.
It's super loud too. I remember when I first started this movie, I was like, Jesus. And then it gets really, really quiet, which we'll talk about.
So Adam didn't see it in the theater. Margot, you did see it in the theater. Were you like a John Grisham fan, or you were just like, I have to see the new thing?
I was a Grisham fan. I started with The Firm, and I loved that book. I thought the movie was great, a little slow sometimes, but this movie came out in December. And I remember when I read the book, I'm like, he's describing Julia Roberts like to a T. Turns out he did write it with her in mind, and he sold it just like, he was making money hand over fist, still does, by the way.
Right.
But she was cast with that in mind. I forgot that she was married to Lyle Lovett.
Oh, that's right.
When she made this movie, they had just gotten married. And so, but she was quiet for a couple of years. She did Sleeping with the Enemy and Dying Young. She had all these movies. And then she kind of only went away for like a year and a half. It was like a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
So Julia's back with her big, big hair.
Very big hair. She looks great.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. Her hair looks great. She plays a law student. So these two Supreme Court justices are murdered, and she's like rando law student in New Orleans who writes a brief of who she thinks killed the Supreme Court justices. And then of course this would happen. It gets all the way to the White House and it gets people killed, and she's on the run. And I thought that was so weird because it's like if you wrote a term paper and it somehow went viral. Like, it's so weird.
Well, she's sleeping with her teacher.
Yeah.
Which, on the one hand, that's kind of gross. On the other hand, it's Sam Shepard. I wouldn't say no to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd tap that. He's
I know.
super hot. But all of a sudden, he's like, it's a touchy subject for me, but it's the alcoholism.
Yeah.
And him putting it on her to help him. And she's half his age. And she's trying to we're also going to make it okay. So she does wind up sleeping with Denzel Washington. We're okay with it because this guy wasn't going to last anyway.
But they didn't.
Part of it. No, that was, and there's different, they did in the book, but in the book, the guy was white. And I don't know if it's an interracial thing, and Denzel Washington didn't want to do that, or they've said they're only together supposedly for like a week and a half, technically. So it would be too soon after her boyfriend died.
See, that's what I thought. I took it as...
That's what I think too, yeah.
It would be weird.
There's two things I read about why they didn't get together in the movie, which was, one was there was Denzel Washington said that people weren't going to buy an interracial romance, I guess, in a movie in 1993 at that time, or they would be put off by it. And then there was another story that it was in there, but he said that he didn't want to kiss Julia Roberts because he thought that it was going to turn off African-American women who were a giant fan base for him at the, still now, but at the time. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what it is, but I kind of agree with Sonia, what you were saying. It would feel out of step with the rest of the movie if it happened, because I never got the impression that there was a romantic pull towards each other between the two of them. Because he's so... And unlike a lot of Denzel Washington performances, there's not a lot of shagginess to him, and I mean that in a good way. In almost every movie he's in, you feel like he's lived a life up until the movie that we're watching, and he's a real person. And in this one, I know that he sat with a lot of journalists and kind of shadowed them, before he made the movie, and he seems to just be playing. This is what I see when I talk to journalists, that they're just completely even keel about the story, about protecting their sources, super professional. And that's kind of what I got out of him. And I think for him to sleep with his source would go against his character. And so it didn't really bother me.
No, I think it's the right choice. It's kind of weird in the novel because it happens pretty quickly when they do. And you're kind of wasn't that the love of your life a week ago who got blown up in front of you? I mean, I think they made the right choice.
She's only 24.
That's true. She's only 24.
She gets over it. But they tease it enough in the movie that I'm like, well, if you're not going to go that way, there's a lot of fat in this script we could take out. Because I'll say one thing, one of my big notes is, I wrote it 3 times. This is incomprehensible. I cannot understand this plot. It's one of those things, so many things have to align themselves to make it work. And so many people are being shot in public. No witnesses. Nope. I mean, guys go ahead.
It starts that way. It starts with the Tooch going through. He kills two Supreme Court justices. One is Hugh Cronin. He's super old, and he shoots him in the head. And I was like, couldn't you just make this look like make it look like an accident? Like, you draw all this attention to it, and then
how many pills were on that tray? Did you see that? The pills.
I know.
That was like 1,000 pills. And then the other guy, they're in the porno theater. I don't think Pakula's ever been to a porno theater. Not like I'm an expert. But I was like,
I am.
I'm not. Okay. VHS tapes, very popular at the time. But Stanley Tucci had the mangiest looking popcorn bucket thing. That thing was disgusting in his hands.
I laughed out loud when I saw it. I was like, oh, the old popcorn bucket trick.
I almost filmed that one for you guys because I was like, what? And then
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, he strangles him, but does it in 2 seconds? Like, we've seen enough movies to know if you're going to strangle someone, it takes a while. Like, that's the whole, reason why, like, some people pick it because they want to have a close connection to that person. He should have just stabbed him or something. I mean, that was whole thing. Like, it was his belt loop, and they take forever. Takes the rope out. He's stroking that rope. He goes over, chokes the guy like 2 seconds, goes back to his popcorn and hangs out, and then leaves. It's ridiculous.
Maybe he needs the challenge. Maybe he likes to make it difficult on himself. Yeah, I don't know. Neither of these murders were done in a way that made sense to me. I was like, I don't understand. Why don't you? Yeah, you're drawing all this attention to it, and I don't think that was the plan. Was that part of the plan to like draw all this attention to the idea that two Supreme Court justices die on the same day, and they're clearly murdered?
If you're a Supreme Court justice, it's 1993 and you're homosexual and you don't want anybody to know, you could buy VHS tapes of porn, anything you want, and you don't have to go to a theater. I mean, that's a huge. I mean, maybe that's the turn on. We have so much to discuss in this movie. I'll just say, okay, I'll give up on the porn thing. That's how the guy dies.
But it's weird.
It's very weird. The queer club, they call it. The queer place.
Yeah.
Yeah, people weren't quite enlightened in Hollywood back then. Like, because it's such an unnecessary detail that it seems exploitive. And not in like, this is super, super offensive. It's so like ham-handed how they do it that it's just dumb.
It's dumb.
Like, it's just a dumb choice. But I'll say this though, like when the Stanley Tucci character leaves the movie halfway through, it gets okay. Like it stays okay for I think another 20 minutes or so. And I got a weird story about this. Did either of you watch this on DVD?
No.
It's a flip disc. There's like it goes until an hour 17, and then it stops. And then you have to take the disc out and then flip it over to get the last hour and 3 minutes. And it's almost perfectly timed for when the movie is good and the movie is not good.
Weird.
Wow.
It's strange because I like this movie all the way up until when Denzel Washington is scribbling on his notepad in the hotel room after Julia Roberts tells him what the Pelican brief is all about and what she knows. And then after that, and I think this is the biggest problem with the movie, and The Firm kind of has this problem too, is once the audience knows the mystery halfway through, there's nothing else to watch except for them getting chased or trying to prove what we already know.
Yeah, which is boring.
It's boring, and also I think, here's some things like it's around that point too, Adam. Like for me, I was like, oh, this is why I didn't watch the movie again. I just saw it in the movie theater. But her performance and the way what she's doing is also just so subdued and quiet. Like she barely moves her lips. It's almost like she's a ventriloquist sometimes. Like she's trying to just get words out and she's not trying to be too emotive. It's like, I don't go to movies see Julia Roberts barely move her mouth. Like that's not what I'm there for. And when she goes and she's in a room alone with him and she says they travel without toothbrushes or eye drops or anything, I guess. Like they're constantly just taking off. But she says, can you sleep over on the couch? There's no couch, I guess. He's on the chair. And then she just said, why did you pick me? She just said, Callahan was a fan. And then I just started cracking up silly.
Yeah.
Callahan was her boyfriend that got blown up.
It's a secret.
I'm like, shh. And she's
This
staying in a
movie-
good
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, it's a really expensive hotel room too. Oh my God, keep going.
I'm glad you brought up the hotel rooms because I noticed like weird kind of almost fetishes of directors sometimes in movies. And like when I watched, I'll use this as an example first before we talk about the hotels in Pelican Brief. In Jack Reacher 2, which I forgot, I think it's Jack Reacher Never Go Back. There's for some reason, they have to talk about basically every meal that they have during their pursuit and chase. So it's never just like, oh, we've got to, get from here to here. It's just like, but did she eat dinner yet? And it's like really
I don't
weird.
understand. When do they go to the bathroom? I need to know.
It's like weird. Like, so in that movie, it's all about like, we should order room service. Did she eat yet? Let's make it to the food truck, stuff like that. And then in the Pelican Brief, it's like hotel rooms. It's like there's so many hotel rooms in this movie and it's like hotel rooms that are super nice and hotel rooms that are kind of average. And it's just like every third meetup is a different hotel room. And after like 2 hours plus, it becomes unintentionally funny.
She doesn't have a purse. She doesn't have anything with her to carry with her. She didn't pick up anything in the lobby, just the shit you get at the store in the lobby, like nothing. He just follows her. And then I guess he's single and she's single. And so there's times we're supposed to, for a moment, they have a hesitation as they look at each other and then they just keep going. And like, neither one's being sexy. So that bums me out. Neither one's like really given a lot to do. They're just kind of,
they're running. They just spent, they're plot movers. Exactly.
Movers. That's all they do. And that's not what I want for my movie stars.
Yeah, I like that this was, it was kind of a new type of Julia Roberts performance at the time, because before that she was primarily in like Steel Magnolias or Pretty Woman or Sleeping with the Enemy and stuff like that. And this is sort of her in, like the thing I like about John Grisham movies is like they're movie star movies. Like they're movies entirely carried by their movie star. And this is like a showcase type of performance for her at the time. I don't think it's like one of her best now, but I think back then, it kind of showed that she had more range than just kind of doing comedies and kind of thrillers and, light dramas and things like that. So,
but does she?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good performance of like an underwritten role, if that makes sense.
There's a couple of things in the movie that I wrote down that I liked that I feel like we don't see in a lot of movies like this. Like, one is there's a lot of scenes of her like running through crowds to get away from people. And she's running through one of the crowds and she just runs up to this huge dude and she's like, help me. And he kind of pushes her aside and he like punches the guy out, but then he gets his ass kicked. Like the guy gets his ass kicked by this little...
For helping her.
Yeah, for helping her. We never see that guy again, but I thought, I don't know, it's something I felt like a normal person might do in that situation. Like you might just run up to someone and ask them to help you. And so that happened. And then everyone around her is being murdered all the time. Like anyone she talks to is being murdered. And there's, I forget did she go to the bank? And then she comes out and she has like a full on panic attack.
Yeah.
And she
because
I can't breathe. Yeah, everybody is being murdered around her and she just has a full on panic attack. And then they go back to some random hotel room because of course they do. And that's when he does the whole like, I want you to see your 25th birthday or whatever. I felt like that was also like a real thing. Like I would freak out. I would 100% have a panic attack if this was happening to me.
I thought her reaction after the car bombing was pretty, like when they showed her in the police station and she's just like completely panic almost. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad that it wasn't just like, they do this weird like thing with the photography when they show her like reacting to the car bombing. It's like this weird zoom in.
Like and then she hits the floor and
Yeah,
it hits the ground.
real,
Like, I forgot about that.
Real weird. I have no good segue for this, but like I'm gonna kick myself if I don't talk to you both about this part. When this movie has a problem with hats. Because there's a scene where she meets up with Cynthia Nixon, who's her law school friend. And by the way, totally surprised that Cynthia Nixon doesn't get killed by somebody in this movie because she's got all the earmarks of the friend who dies.
I thought the same thing. I was like, I forget, does she die in this movie? And then when she didn't, I was like, well, there's the twist.
How young does she look?
She
like
looks
she's 12.
Yeah. So she meets up with Julia Roberts in what I think is like a restaurant/laundry room.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. So she's sitting on top of like a washer and dryer, and she's wearing a New York Knicks hat. And I so wanted Cynthia Nixon to be like, oh my God, where have you been? And then Julia Roberts is like, just really into the Knicks right now. It's like New Orleans doesn't have a team, and I'm dying out here with no basketball. And the Knicks, they got Ewing, they got Starks, they got Oakley, and then like I just want. But the other hat thing was she instructs John Hurd, who is Sam Shepard's best friend, and he's kind of like the guy that she runs to before Denzel Washington to kind of help her. And he's an FBI guy, and she says, I need to meet up with you, but you kind of have to disguise yourself, wear a long sleeve shirt, and wear a red hat. And he doesn't get to that meeting, but Stanley Tucci pretends that he's John Hurd, and he hears this message, and he gets the shirt and the hat. Where did he get this hat? Was it from somebody who was sitting on it on a bus for like? It's not a good movie hat. It looks like a flat, like butt hat. Like you need to get a better hat. This is a Warner Brothers movie. I might accept it for like Orion, but not for Warner.
Right.
Come on, Warner Brothers, do better.
Some of the disguises that they try to use for her are so ludicrous. Like there is the really tragic wig that she wears in the scene in the elevator. And I'll put the clips on Brooklyn Fit Chick on Instagram. I have a few of them from this movie because this movie fucking cracked me up. But then she's noticeable for her gorgeous hair. It's big and luscious and all that. That's what she was known for. And she's just walking around with it everywhere. Nobody ever thinks like it's going to stand out. Like what? She's like 5'10" and beautiful with this hair. Like she doesn't try to. The only time was in the laundromat / bar. And then this is realistic because this happened to me all the time when I was in college. It's like guys following you around, asking you to smile. And then they grab your arm.
100%. 100% realistic. That totally happens.
And you just sit there like, do I tell him to fuck off? Is he going to get aggressive? Can I just, get away? That part was real. But then his whole job was to just then sing like Jim Neighbors in the middle of the street. Like, you're not going to get that, Adam. I'm sorry. But he just does this old-timey singing.
Yeah.
To draw attention to her. And then he just looks at the other guy that's throughout the whole movie. He just points his finger like, boop, boop, right there. Did my job. And I don't know like what else he's supposed to do. Was he supposed to just get around the building or what? But it's bizarre.
Yeah, that scene is, I don't understand the laundromat / bar. Maybe that's a thing in other cities. It's not, I don't think that's here. I'd like to go to one.
Oh, no, it sounds fun. I mean, I hate doing laundry, so yeah. That would make it more fun.
We have to talk about Sam Shepard getting killed for a second because he gets this great, like, was it you take my breath away and then the car,
gosh.
car explodes. It's so stupid.
Poor Sam Shepard. It's such a dumb part. It's really, like, not worthy of him and his talent, but you have to see like what you could understand why a girl like her would be completely entranced by him or enchanted with him. But yeah, it's not a great part. Yeah. But yeah, this Pelican brief, like the whole thing, like in the middle of the movie, they explain what it is, and then like Adam said, like, well, now that we know what it is, and then Denzel Washington goes to he's a reporter, and John Lithgow's in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's great. I like Lithgow. Lithgow's scenes are fantastic. He's good. But he sends Denzel to go to his cabin somewhere. I don't know where it is. And, of course, Julia Roberts shows up
Yeah.
It's Darby. Just like got the gun out, it's raining. Like, but then before that, he was watching this documentary from Frontline. Is that it? From
PBS.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I felt like I watched that entire documentary now. Like, it's such a long scene. So not necessary.
And like the way that it's shot looks like Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Yeah.
I still don't understand. So the brief where she has now figured out who killed these two Supreme Court justices so the CIA and FBI haven't also done their investigations, or they don't want to do an investigation? Have they not thought about like, hey, I'll look at their cases and see where they maybe agreed as well?
Right.
She's the only one to think of that?
The whole thing's weird.
Yeah.
With microfiche, I mean, how much research can you do with what they had back then?
Yeah. This
only
is
had a week.
literally like the equivalent of me like speculating and writing a blog post, and then all of a sudden the White House is like, well, the Sonia show's fucking figured it out, so we better send some people out there.
I didn't think of that before, but that is a problem, that you never kind of see her really like in the process of collecting the information and writing the brief, because it sort of becomes then the movie where it's like, you're going to write the best song ever, but then they never play the song.
Yes.
Or they just kind of show people's reaction and saying that it's the best song ever. I don't know. Like, I never doubted her character's, moxie and intelligence.
Yes.
Like, I think she could do it. It's just that I feel like there needs to be a scene, because it's such a crucial thing of her putting it together to show just kind of how brilliant she is or whatnot. I don't know. And also it's so weird that like she gives it to Sam Shepard and it doesn't just stay with them, but he like decides to just kind of share it with the FBI. Like, it just is really weird. It almost like would seem to incriminate her. Like, how does she know all this?
Yeah.
How does she know? I mean, we just see her stack. They don't know how research looks like, I guess, or they didn't know how to film it. It's just her in these long shots typing into a typewriter. And sometimes the hair changes. And that's where we're supposed to say like, oh, she was gone for a week. But we don't know where I could use a microfiche scene, like her just looking into that and go, oh, 13th of September. Oh, damn. Okay. We got none of that.
There's two other movies that they show scenes in this movie that make me think like, oh, I would rather be watching this other movie. One is the friendship between Sam Shepard and John Hurd. I would much rather watch a movie about that. I would also much rather watch a movie about Denzel Washington and him sharing information and having a source within the White House with that one man who he meets up with a couple times.
Oh yeah.
Like that would be really interesting. Like the whole like journalist and then like how he gets access with the sources and stuff. There would be like not necessarily thrillers, but like if you said like, okay, Adam, you could either continue watching the Pelican Brief or you could choose your own adventure and watch Sam Shepard and John Hurd have dinner as old friends. I would much rather watch that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Or it's the custodian, or he's a guy that works at the White House. Like I'd like to see him sneak Denzel in and like, do you want to see the Lincoln Room, man? Do you want to see this room? Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And then we get people who, we get a lot of, there's so many people in this movie and they're all like, so Anthony Heald shows up, who is always like the dumb psychiatrist from Silence of the Lambs. Always a creep. Always a creep.
Yeah.
Tony Goldwyn shows up. Almost always a creep. He, like all these people, Walter Peck shows up. Like, but we never really,
in this
but
too.
He's barely in it. And I'm like, why did you get him? And then you don't even use him. What's the point? Where's the fun in that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, same with Hume Cronin.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's just, he just kind of like points at a TV screen, kind of, and then they kill him. It just would have liked to have, I don't know. We don't care about the judges. We're just told they're Supreme Court judges. So we don't really, we're not really invested in them.
So I have a random question for you guys. Have you ever had a safe deposit box?
Yes.
See, I have not. I feel left out. They're always in movies. Should I get a safe deposit box?
I say yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good to have like, a place to put, documents that like you can't lose but could get lost if they're just in your home.
I'll put my Pelican brief in there.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the whole Pelican brief thing for a second because like all right. Because it's the 90s, I guess, like, all right, whatever. But and maybe this is just me, but the moment when I find out this is all about oil and pelicans, I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, there could be, like, obviously this government conspiracy and assassinations and it all surrounds it. It's like, sure. But then when you get to, like, the crux of it, it's like, it's about the pelicans. It's just like, okay. It's like, it's about the meerkats. It's like, what are we doing?
Fly Away Home, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
With Anna Paquin? Yeah, they do that much better. I mean, kind of, but there's like a whole reason. Yeah, here I don't give a shit about pelicans. I don't, I don't hate them, but I just don't care about them.
Why do you hate them, Margot?
I
don't want them to be endangered. I just don't want to watch a movie about them. I don't want my Denzel Washington, Julia Roberts thriller to be about birds.
Whispering about it, by the way. Like they just, and then just sitting next to each other.
It's
Pelican brief, and he said this.
It'd be great. It would be so great if like Denzel Washington's sleeping on the sofa in the hotel room, and then Julia Roberts just sneaks in there in the middle of the night, and she's like, "Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor."
I would enjoy that movie very much.
That would be good.
Yeah. I was about to say something. You guys keep talking.
I'm so sorry, Margot.
Into my head.
Did I interrupt
you?
I get
annoyed when they show hotel rooms in movies and then they don't show like the pay-per-view card of what's playing. They did that in Scent of a Woman where like Al Pacino has like Chris O'Donnell at gunpoint and pushed up against like a dresser and it's right by the TV. And in the corner of the shot, you can see all the movies that are available in the hotel room. And I'm just like, well, I don't even care if this kid gets killed anymore.
I want to see them watching this.
Yeah.
We need to cover that, you guys, by the way. Scent of a Woman.
Yeah, we could put it on the list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would be a good one.
I need to talk about that movie.
I rewatched it a few years ago. It holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
Did you remember what you wanted to say, Margot?
And I forgot it again.
Okay.
Shit. Keep going.
There's I took a couple of important lessons from this movie. One is if your car won't start, you should just get out and run.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. And then don't do extra credit work. Because she writes this brief for no real reason. It's not for class. It's just for fun, I guess. I'm like, I won't be doing that.
She's so brilliant. She figured it out, Sonia. Yeah. Nobody else did. Nobody, the investigative reporters, nobody that was covering that beat for years.
Mm-mm.
Nobody. Nope. Just her.
I also really enjoyed when they watched the video of the other source who's been killed, because everyone's been killed.
And we don't care about him.
And we don't care about him. But then at the end of his video, he says, "I'll be with you always." And I was like the Force. It'll be with you always.
And I just yelled out, "No, you won't." And we don't care about him. We don't. And then because he's just a nothing to us. I mean, there's so many people that are killed that we don't care about, or it's just very casual. And then the payoff is that she's the source and she gets the co-writing credit, front page, Washington Post. Well done. Nicely done, Darby. And they fly her someplace. Mm-hmm. And then I think, Adam, you mentioned this when we were texting each other. Like, that's such a pickup scene where she's at the very, very end because her hair color is different and all she's doing is reacting to the television. Mm-hmm. And I think just somebody goes, "Come on, Julia. We want that smile."
And then she finally smiles. Yay, it's a happy ending.
Shake your money maker, honey. This is what we got to have something here to keep people positive. So I think that's all that is.
It's like she was on the set of I Love Trouble and it's the day before Nick Nolte showed up. And they're like, well, we're not rolling cameras till tomorrow, so why don't we just finish up these pickup shots for Pelican Brief? And she's like, great idea.
My God, I love Trouble. I need to put that movie on the list.
I haven't seen it, but I remember in that People versus OJ miniseries that was on, or limited series that was on TV, on FX a few years ago, that when John Travolta, who's playing Robert Shapiro, gets interrupted about the OJ case, he's just like, oh, but we had tickets to the premiere of I Love Trouble, and I don't think I've laughed harder at something on television in this decade or last decade than I did at that. I thought it was so great.
That show was ridiculous and amazing.
I loved it.
I enjoyed it. Yeah,
loved it. Yeah,
it's so
that
good.
was where I discovered how awesome Sterling K. Brown was. So I'll be grateful for that.
Yeah, he is awesome. I agree. Did you finally remember, Margot?
I think it was just that last shot. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
The whole scene. There's a whole scene at the very end where the FBI comes in and Denzel and Juliet literally are attached at the hip everywhere they go, and they're sitting there barely moving their lips, like listening to this and listening. And I'm just like, you've got two big movie stars. Come on. And then she's like, I get in a plane. Gray goes with me. I will then tell the pilot where we're going. And he's like, you can't fucking do that. And she's like, oh, you're the FBI. Like, you can't fucking do that. I know pilots. Like, this is not, what the fuck?
And then he's the head of the FBI or CIA or whatever the fuck he is, says,
Whatever
so
he is.
you're the little lady that caused all this
that made me
brouhaha.
crazy.
I'm like, shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Come
Yeah.
here and sit on my lap and tell me what you want for Christmas. That's what he's doing. He's such an asshole.
There's a lot of casual sexism with it, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
We just wanted to see casual sex.
So disappointing.
Yeah.
No.
I like the poster for this movie. Have you seen the poster for it? It's like all covered. It's like they did this color correction on it, so it's all in amber, and it looks like they're in a glass of scotch. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to look. I'm looking it up right now. And it's so funny because it looks like every other John Grisham movie poster. It's like big stars, font, different color. So this one's the whiskey color. Like Runaway Jury's got like the red.
Mm-hmm.
The Firm's got like the blue.
That's the one that I want to rewatch is Runaway Jury. I haven't seen that in a long time, and I remember it being really good.
Yeah, I want to see that one too. We were talking off the air. We were talking about our favorite Grisham movies, and I said mine is The Client and then The Firm. But I loved what's the one we also said we mentioned?
The Rainmaker.
Thank you, The Rainmaker.
That movie's
Except the
awesome.
part, it is awesome, but I have to say the part with Claire
Danes.
Yeah.
That part I could have done without.
It's way more graphic than it needs to be.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also just no point. Like, I wish they could have taken that out because there's so many other. Mickey Rourke is excellent in it.
Yeah, he's terrific in that movie. Him and DeVito are real good. And also, I loved that period of Matt Damon's career where he was just playing this like the Rounders guy.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like Rounders, and the Rainmaker. It could be the same guy. And he's really good with like narration carrying the movie, so it's a good one.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, this one just doesn't hold up for me like those do.
This one doesn't feel as watchable. It's too long. I was just gonna say that it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I hate being like the person like it's too long, but it's too long.
No, you could take a half hour out of this thing and it would be much, much better.
Yeah, it's not tight.
It's just a bummer because like I don't think it's anybody's like
best
top work. Yeah, I mean it's fine. It's there. It's watchable, but it's not like if you were going to recommend a Julia Roberts movie to somebody or a Denzel Washington movie to somebody or an Alan Pakula movie to somebody, like you would never say The Pelican Brief.
No.
Mm-mm. It seems like it's such a wasted opportunity. I think, Margot, you said it when you have these two huge movie stars.
Right.
And then you don't get them together until like an hour into the movie. and they spend the whole movie like running and
a lot of running
and and hardly
it's like
moving.
a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
bet the trailer people were like watching this movie and they're like, I don't know how to sell this. And then they show like the parking garage scene and they're like, yes, we put parking garage scenes in trailers.
so good.
Excited. Yeah.
By the way, I'm like that in parking garages all the time because I never remember where I park. So I spend all the time running around anyway. I need dramatic music like that.
I have such anxiety leaving a parking lot. One of those going down the levels, and am I going the right way? And that whole thing gives me anxiety.
You brought up like a really good point with how this movie, like, you were saying like they don't get together until like over an hour into the movie. For the first half hour, especially too, they seem like they're each like the eighth actor in this movie.
Yes.
Like they're not eventually going to be the 1 and 2 lead. So it's really just odd. I don't know. It takes way too long for them to like come into focus as the main characters.
Mm-hmm. I agree. You think it's Sam Shepard's movie?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, in the beginning, sure.
I would like to watch
Before
that
he's
movie.
blown up.
You take my breath away.
I feel so bad for him. I just think he's such a good actor, and it's such a dumb line. What about the drinking? Like, one day at a time, right? Like, ay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't get how she's so cool with him too. Like when he says you take my breath away because he just told her to walk home while he drives home drunk.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, you."
Yeah, that's usually a deal breaker for most people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she never even is like, "You're such an asshole" or anything like that. It's just, It's just like, all right, what a card.
Fine, I'll let you drive drunk and give me a ride home.
It's only 7.2 miles. I'll walk.
Do we have anything else we want to say about Pelican Brief?
Whose car was she in? When she wakes up, there's the fake cop. There's a lot of fakery going on here, but there's a fake cop that asks her how she's doing. Whose car was she in? Like she falls to the ground and then she wakes up in a car. Is that not to be known?
I'm guessing it was one of those, like the main villain is a guy you never see named Matisse, and I'm guessing it's like somebody who's on his payroll or like kind of aligned with him.
It's just odd because then the real cop comes over, and then somebody else takes her, and then they take her to the hospital. I don't know. I don't know why I felt, because it was the second time I saw it. Like, how come she's in that car? That was okay. Never mind. I focus on weird things sometimes.
No, it's not weird.
No.
Well, it's weird, but it's good that you focused in on it, is what I mean to say.
So, yeah, once again, follow me on Instagram. I'll post a couple of scenes that I thought was funny.
Your little shots are so funny. I laughed out loud when you said them.
Good.
So everybody should go check them out. Do you want to hear? I have 2 lists here. I have either the other movies that came out in December 1993, or I have the top 10 movies of 93.
I want December.
You want December?
Yeah, December sounds fun.
Yeah, I think that's more fun. Yeah. Okay, I'm sure everybody remembers Wrestling Ernest Hemingway.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
No.
Weird. I'm pretty sure it was a huge hit. No, I don't know anything about it.
Wow.
Grumpy Old Men.
Love Grumpy Old Men. I'm a huge fan.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember liking the second one better, but I think that's just because I was young.
You need to see it again. It's a really good movie.
Okay. I like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. They're always so fun. Also, What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that in a while.
Good. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I haven't seen that one in a long time either. In the Name of the Father.
Oh, yeah. That's a fun one.
That's hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's about the troubles in Ireland.
Wayne's World 2.
I don't like it as much as the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I know we like this one, Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we were watching Tombstone right now.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
All right. What if
I have one more
Powers
movie.
Booth,
Go ahead.
Oh, just real quick. What if Powers Booth was a Sam Shepard part, and instead of like you take my breath away, he just goes bye.
No, it's Will. Bye. Amazing. Oh, please, universe, make this happen. Somebody do that.
That would be the best movie.
The best gif ever.
I
Yeah.
love it. I think we could put this together. I'll see what I can do. And then the last movie that came out, December 93, was Sister Act 2.
That's also not as good as the first one.
The first one's not that good either.
People?
Oh, I love Sister Act.
You know,
really?
I have not seen either of these since the theater, but I know that like younger people, so maybe Adam could speak to this, love those movies. Is it because they were on cable all the time?
Yeah, I know that I saw Sister Act a lot and Sister Act 2 a lot, like on cable or whatever, but I always thought that they were I didn't rewatch 2, but I rewatched 1 for a column like in May, and it was real bad. So I don't know. But that's just
I haven't
me.
seen it in a while, but I used to love it. I did at the time. Do you guys want to hear about some of the top albums of 93?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we have U2 Zooropa.
I was such a big fan.
Me too.
What songs are on that one? Do you remember?
Zooropa. Making that up.
I'll look it up.
No,
Yeah, look
I
it
remember
up.
Lemon.
Octum Baby. Yeah, Lemon was
Lemon
on there.
was on that.
Oh, and then there's the one where the Edge just talks in
Numb.
like an emo way. Yeah, Numb.
Numb, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. I loved
That
that.
was huge.
Nirvana in Utero.
I've never heard of them.
That's a great album.
This is like college. Liz Phair, Exile, and Guyville. Like all my friends had that.
Oh,
CD.
yes. You had to. It was the law.
It was the law. And then my favorite, Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style.
That's a banger.
It
That's
is.
a great album.
It is.
It totally is. I was into it. Snoop Dogg, get down.
Yep.
I remember exactly the first time I heard What's My Name. This is such a random memory, but I had just seen Demolition Man with my friend Frank, and we were in junior high, and my dad was driving us home from the mall theater, and we went to a McDonald's drive-thru, and that was on our top like rap station. And I heard it, and I like was chemically changed as a person. I was just like, "What is this?" I'm like, Demolition Man, the greatest song ever, and cheeseburgers. Is this the best day of my life?
It's never going to get any better than this.
Yeah.
If you're ever looking for inspiration, you have to work out and you just can't find it. Just if you have an Alexa or whatever, on Spotify, just have them play 90s hip hop, and you're going to be in the best goddamn mood. It's just, it's irresistible. It's just the best.
Margot and I send each other songs of 90s hit, like Digital Underground comes up a lot with Margot and I. We have a lot of love for Digital Underground, and all that Snoop Dogg back in the day. I remember, was it Nothing But a G Thing? Was the first time I had ever seen or heard Snoop Dogg, and I was like, who is that? Like, because he was so funky, like his voice. Welcome to my Snoop Dogg podcast.
No, I was a huge Tupac person because he was in Digital Underground, and then he went on his own. And then there's Biggie. Biggie Smalls was huge here in New York when I first moved here. Those were good times.
I'm going to listen to some 90s hip hop after this.
Put it. I swear to God, you guys, you'll thank me later.
Yeah. I also have a list of 90s thrillers, and I feel like we've gone through 93 thrillers, but one of them is, I know, one of Adam's favorites. It's Malice.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a good one.
I feel like Malice went from, I kind of like Malice too. I really like Malice too. I think it's one of my 20 favorite movies.
I love it.
Did I ever tell you the thing about the Malice trailer?
Mm-mm.
So I've said this on F This Movie before, so I apologize if somebody's heard this before, but I kind of had a practical joke with Patrick from F This Movie about buying I really just wanted a 35 millimeter print of a movie. Like, I have nothing to play it on. I have no reason to buy it, but I just want one. So,
I understand.
Yeah. So in just one movie, I don't care, like I don't care what it is. I just want one movie on 35 millimeter just 6 reels taking up space in my apartment for no reason. And I looked up, what I could buy, and everything was like $500. So I'm just like, well, what can I get for like $10? And I could get the 35 millimeter trailer to Malice. So that's what I bought.
Nice.
The trailer. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I definitely have had like a night where I'm just like, I'm just going to like unspool this and just try to watch the trailer like this. And then I was like, oh, if I hold it up to the TV with light reflecting it kind of looks like something.
That's amazing.
It was exciting, but then I had to like spin it back up, and that wasn't fun.
I have one trailer 35 millimeter that I found at the movie theater, like in the back of a cabinet, and it's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Holy shit.
Did you keep it?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's amazing.
Because I worked at it. I found it at the Festival movie theater in Walnut Creek. And that theater had been there for a while, obviously. Like, Margot, you might remember, it's this weird theater that was like on a corner. So like 2 of the screens were on one side and the other 3 were on the other side. And they weren't connected. Like, so they're like, no, it's playing on the other side. It's such a weird theater.
I saw the Freddy Krueger one. I saw the Dream Warriors there.
Yeah.
I remember that clearly. Yeah.
And so I was... Not to brag, but I was a certified projectionist. And I was going through one of the cabinets, and way in the back was a Raiders of the Lost Ark trailer. And I was like, what? And like put it in my bag and brought it home.
Fucking A, yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah.
I'm like, I miss threading projectors. I wonder if I showed up at a theater, if they would let me do it. I'm certified, you guys.
I miss movie theaters.
I miss movie theaters so much.
I mean, I was there's a new restaurant that opened in my neighborhood, and the guy that was the head bartender at Alamo, he's now as a waiter here, and we were talking about it. He's like, I miss it so much, going to see the movies and talking to people at movies and stuff. It's just going to be a while before we can do it again.
I know.
I keep looking at my AMC app to see, I'm like, I'll go if there's nobody else in the theater. So what if I just wait until...
Oh my gosh, that's so smart.
I'm like, what if I just wait up until the showtime, and then if nobody's in there, then I'll just go buy a ticket and I'll watch it. But then I always think of this like when I'm at home, and I'm just like, I don't want to drive 20 minutes, and then like somebody shows up 10 minutes late.
Right.
So it's just like, it's just too much work for like Unhinged.
It's such a good idea, though.
Yeah, I'll probably try it at some point, because I am getting like kind of worn down where I really want to just go to a movie theater as long as nobody else is in there.
Yeah. Everything.
Or just people in my pod. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe we could all join together and like rent out a theater.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the way to do it.
They do that. There's this theater chain called Cinemark where they've got private watch party, and for $150 you can rent out a theater of a new release. And it's so crazy that I'm just like, hey, I should do this for the dumbest movie possible. So it's like, you're supposed to do this for like Tenet, but it's like, I'm going to do this for Broken Hearts Gallery.
So it's only $150. I actually don't think that's much.
Cheap.
No, that's good. But I'm just saying, like, if it was just me,
yes.
I'm going to rent out an entire theater for $150 just to watch Broken Hearts Gallery.
Those people are going to make fun of you so bad. They're just going to be like, who's this fucking freak?
I'll be like, I'm the freak who just saw Broken Hearts Gallery.
This was so fun, as always. I'm so glad you came on to talk about Pelican Brief.
Yeah, you two are the best. I love being here, so thank you for inviting me back.
I think you're the best. Where can people find you on the internet?
So I do podcasts and write for the site F This Movie, which is the letter F thismovie.com. We have a month of all horror coverage.
It's going to be so fun.
We call it Scary Movie Month in October, and there's a lot of ways for you to join in. So check us out there. And then I'm on Twitter at Riske Adam, and I retweet all of my podcasts and articles there too. So that's probably the best way to get everything.
And Adam's writing is fabulous. He's one of my favorite movie writers.
Oh, thank you.
And you're so fun on Twitter. And we also celebrate Scary Movie Month here at Dorking Out. So we'll also have an entire month of scary movies that we're talking about and plugging away for the F This Movie.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we always have so much fun. And
where
can people find you, Margot?
So at social media, you can find me at Brooklyn Fit Chick, mostly for Twitter and Instagram. And my blog is brooklynfitchick.com. On Instagram, I do post a lot of pictures of my cats, but I will post some video of me with the Pelican brief to give you a chuckle.
Your cats are the cutest.
They are.
And you can find both of us at whatacreeppodcast.com, where we talk about creeps every week and then end the episode with someone who's not a creep. And it doesn't sound like fun, but it really is. So give us a listen, and you can find me at thesoniashow.com on Twitter and Instagram, where I post photos of bread. not as photogenic as Margot's cats. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingoutshow.com, and you can email us at dorkingoutshow podcast. dorkingoutshow at Gmail. No, I'm sorry. It's just Dorking Out Show. God, why do I do that every time? dorkingoutshow at gmail.com. I don't know our own email. And you could get these amazing stickers. They're so cute. Mm-hmm. Adam, have we sent you stickers?
I don't think so.
We need to send Adam some stickers.
Yeah, we'll send you some swag.
Yeah.
I'll stick them.
Yeah. Stick it, Adam. This was super fun. Thanks for talking about the Pelican brief. And everybody, wash your hands and wear masks, practice social distancing, and donate to Vote Blue organizations, please.
And just register to vote, and make sure everybody you know is registered to vote. They know what to do, and pray.
We can get through this together, y'all.
Yeah, very well said.